Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Just give me 1 second. So today I'm back to review another Korean book that's been published in English. And today I'm reviewing a poetry collection called Feeling Never Stops. The Korean title is 누구문 멈추지 않는다, and it's by Ahn Joo-cheol. The collection was translated by Brother Anthony, who is, of course, a prolific translator of Korean poetry, and I've reviewed many of his translations here on the channel. And it was published by Asia Publishers as part of their K-Poet series, and it was published with the support of the Literature Translation Institute of Korea in 2020. So before we jump into the poems themselves, let me give you a little background on the poet. So Ahn was born in Wonju in Gangwon-do. He started his career in 2002 with the publication of some poems in a journal called 창작과비평, which translates as creation and criticism. And as always, I apologize for my terrible Korean pronunciation. Since 2002, he has published a couple of collections in Korean. So one called Things to be Done in the Next Life, and another one called I'm Only Alive When I'm Anxious. Feeling Never Stops is his first collection translated into English, and the Korean originals were published in a separate volume at the same time. So Asia Publishers, they used to publish these volumes where you would have the Korean and the English in the same volume, but with the poetry series, they seem like they've stopped doing that, or at least they've stopped doing it the last time I checked. So anyway, let's move on. So what type of poet is Ahn? And how is he viewed in the Korean poetry community? So there is a lovely afterword from a Korean literary critic called Kim Tae-sun at the end of this volume. And Kim writes, when we read Ahn Joo-cheol's poems, we think of evening. At the time when the sun goes down, objects receive the glow of sunset and extend their shadows. It's time for them to let loose the darkness they had been harboring, just as the sun, having risen, finally passes beyond the western hills. Everything that comes into the world will ultimately encounter its own evening. Living also involves disappearing. As they disappear, thus, things that exist also accumulate in themselves as much darkness as they have lived. Secrets that cannot be revealed. It's a great essay. It's wonderful to read in full. I highly recommend checking that out. But it's a great introduction to the feeling and tone and atmosphere of Ann's poetry. These are poems that are full of melancholy, full of darkness, and that frequently hint at uncomfortable secrets. So what type of subject does Ahn write about? What poems can readers expect to encounter in this collection? So there are several poems in this collection inspired at least partly by walking, or that use walking as a metaphor for life. So we have Walking Beside the River 1 and 2, Walking Alone Side by Side, and Walking in the Sunset Foam. Walking Beside the River 1 and 2, these are poems in which life is seen as a kind of endurance test. Life is a series of difficult and unpleasant challenges. We have to shoulder the burdens of day-to-day existence and just keep marching on. These burdens could be the demanding boss or the struggle to lose weight. And as we shoulder these burdens, anger and resentment build up inside us. Anne writes, I walk beside the river. I walk on, roughly honing from the outside the anger that begins to take shape following the riverside, until I'm worn out and able to go to work tomorrow, until I can't deal with my boss at work because I'm so weak. And here we see life as a chore to be endured for as long as we have the strength to endure it. And this is a theme that recurs throughout the collection. So is life just a chore for Anne? Is there any light to balance out this very dark and bleak view of day-to-day life? Everything is tinged with a sense of melancholy, if not outright despair in these poems, or at least that's how I read it and interpreted them. Even typical symbols that we might associate with rebirth and happiness become melancholic wails of existential despair in Anne's hands. For example, there are a trio of poems inspired by spring, that happy time of year when flowers bloom, often celebrated by poets. Sadly for Anne, spring too is a profound source of crisis and bewilderment. In Spring Night, he says, "There were times when I wanted to disappear from this world every day, yet I doubt if a truly human life has ever existed in this world." Well, what can we learn from these poems? Is there anything life affirming to be found in Anne's work? Yes, I suppose there is. So, in this collection and in his insightful essay at the end of the collection, he does kind of articulate a theory of life, or his view on the life of an average human. We could roughly summarize it as this: life is often difficult and painful and full of memories that upset us. But it is this pain that lets us know we are alive. Life is pain, and we shouldn't want to escape our difficult memories because they are the stuff of life, or at least they are for Anne. And we can see this most clearly in the essay included at the end of the book, in which he writes, "There is no way to escape from memory. People who can keep good memories for a long time are happy people. However, people who can keep bad memories for a long time are also happy people because they are alive." Throughout the collection, in poem after poem, we can see Anne write about the struggle that we have with painful memories. This is something most of us experience, of course. We all have painful memories as part of the general weave of our lives. And as Anne is saying, that though these memories are painful, we should, in a way, treasure these memories too. Anyway, that's it for today. If you're someone who loves introspective poetry that explores life's deeper questions, I highly recommend giving Feeling Never Stops a read. Anne's unique voice combined with Brother Anthony's excellent translation makes this collection both poignant and accessible. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you read this collection, or are there any other poetry books that have resonated with you recently? Leave a comment, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more literary content. Until next time, happy reading. Thanks for watching. All the best.